Good morning, students. Today we are going to start with Unit 2 Current Electricity. Before that, we have already finished with Unit 1 Electrostatics, where we discussed about behavior of charges at rest. And today we are going to start with that part of physics where we discuss about charges in motion. However, we will not be discussing about any allied effect of their motion like heating, magnetic effects, and so on, but we'll just be discussing about how the electrons move in a particular direction, what is the requirement for that to happen, how do we calculate the current in the circuit, what's its SI unit, and so on. All those things we are going to discuss about. So in today's session, we are going to take up the introductory part of current electricity. So let us just begin with it. Students, you have discussed about, you have learnt about electricity in class 10th also, where you discussed about the Ohm's law, you learnt about the calculation of current and so on. See students, we find it very difficult to actually understand how do electrons move inside a wire because we are unable to see them with naked eye. We are not able to see them even under any powerful microscope. So how do we see how do they move? So for that, I'm going to make use of the PhET simulations which are made by Colorado University. It's an open courseware available to everyone. I'll be leaving its link in the description so that you can download them and make use of them. So let me quickly move on to that. So first simulation which I'm going to use is this one. See students, it's a very simple circuit where you see a cell has been connected along with the wire. So this is a wire. Inside that wire, what do you see? You see these electrons, these blue spheres which you see moving, these are the electrons, and the green ones are actually the cores. Now what is the meaning of a core? See students, in a metal we know all the valence electrons are free, they can move. If I remove those valence electrons, that what I am left with, the remaining portion of that atom, that is called as core. This core cannot move from one place to another. What all it can do is, it can just vibrate. As you can see here, it is just vibrating around its mean position. It is not moving in any particular direction. On contrast, you see these blue spheres, these blue balls, they are traveling all the way from one end to another. So from where they are starting, see this black portion of the cell, that is representing here the positive side. So electrons are entering the positive side and they are leaving from the negative side. This small fan which is here, it is indicating you the speed of the electrons with which they are traveling, and this emitter here is indicating the amount of current in the circuit, and this one is showing you the temperature of the wire. So let us change a few things in the circuit and see what is the impact. So initially I'm going to change the resistance. Okay. So when I have changed the resistance, see students, when I change the resistance, what do you see? The number of cores, they are showing the number of cores are increasing. So by changing resistance, there could be various things which are happening in the circuit. Possibly I have used a different material. If I've used a different material, then its composition will change, the number of cores which are available inside it, that will change, and so on. And accordingly, the resistance will change. Resistance may also be changed by changing the dimensions of the wire, like by changing its cross-section area, by changing its length, and so on. You have learnt about it in class 10th. R is equal to rho L upon A, where length and cross-section will give rise to a change in resistance. Similarly, resistivity, which gets impacted by change in material and temperature, that may change the resistance. So if I decrease the resistance, then what happens? They are showing here lesser number of cores. Basically what they are trying to show is that a decrease in resistance will occur whenever the number of collisions of the electrons are reducing. The collisions of electrons are the basic cause of resistance, and by any means, if we decrease that frequency of collisions, we are actually decreasing the resistance, and so on. Okay, so let us see. If I keep this resistance at some moderate value, then I change, say, the voltage. See students, say voltage is 0 in the middle. On either side, the voltage will increase, and by taking it from to the right hand side of the 0, then this positive will come on this side, and if I bring it to the other direction, then the positive terminal of the cell will come on the other side, and this is how it is going to change. So as a result, this current in the circuit will change accordingly. See students, so we can keep on changing these voltages. and we can see what is the impact. Look at the motion, the agitation of the cores here in the circuit, and how it is impacting the flow of electrons. You can see in certain other value of voltage, electrons were rather moving gradually. The amount of current in the emitter, that was also different. And when I have changed the voltage, the motion of the electrons have become faster. Amount of current in the circuit has changed. At the same time, temperature of the wire has also changed. Okay, so why these electrons are traveling in a particular direction? That is happening because of this cell. So let us see what is actually happening inside this battery or a cell. See students, these small birds which are visible here, they are not actually there inside any battery. That is just an indication. They are moving in a particular direction, and that direction has been decided by the battery. So until this battery was connected, electrons were in the random motion, just like these cores. Electrons also had a similar kind of motion. That is what we call as the thermal motion. But when when this battery has been set in the circuit, then the motion will be changed. It will become regularized. Electrons will start from the negative end of the battery, and they will end up at the positive end. Okay, now let me show you another thing here. If I click on this button, that is showing voltage calculation. Now it has started calculating what is the number of electrons which are starting from the negative end, and what is the number of electrons which are entering at the positive end. So what do you see? There is a difference. There is a difference in the number. The number of electrons which are starting from the negative end is larger, and the number of electrons which are ending at the positive end is smaller. So why there is this difference? Has this wire got charged? No. Then what is the difference? Why there is a difference number of electrons which are entering and leaving? That is all happening because of this battery. What we know as per our understanding of chemistry, that inside a cell or a battery there is a chemical reaction taking place which is making one of its terminal at higher voltage, that means with lesser number of electrons, positive charge, and the other terminal of the cell or the battery will be having larger number of electrons, and it will be termed that it will be having lower voltage or the negative voltage, right? So that is the cause of this difference in number of electrons. So until this battery was into this circuit, this difference would not have come, and as a result electrons would not have moved in any particular fashion. Okay students, so I'll be leaving its link so that you can go ahead and you can try on your own. Now let me take you to another simulation where we will see how do we build up a circuit and how do we move on. So for that I'm going to make use of a source of DC voltage. I'm using a battery, then I use a wire which I'll be connecting on both the sides. Okay, so along with that, what else I can use? Let me use a bulb, right? I use another wire to complete the circuit. Let me use a key. I can use a resistor also. Okay, now let me close this circuit. Okay, so this is a complete circuit. All right. So this is the circuit that I have. Now students, you can see there are electrons present throughout the circuit, but there is no current flowing as yet. Electrons are not moving at all. To make those electrons move, I have to close the circuit. What you can see here, this switch is open. So if I close this switch, now you can see the electrons have started moving in a particular fashion. How do I calculate what is the amount of current in the circuit? For that, I'm going to make use of a non-contact thermometer, or I can just use any other kind of thermometer also, right? So when I use this ammeter, I'll get to know what is the amount of current in the circuit. I can make use of a current chart also. See students, when I bring this cross over the wire, what do I see? I see now the current has started flowing. The current is being shown on the graph. What kind of current do I see? I see a current which is not changing its direction, which is not changing its value. This kind of current we call as direct current, right? So this kind of current is direct current. In contrast of that, we have another kind of current also, that is known as the alternative current. That is actually the alternating current is a current which we are getting in our domestic supply. And for that to happen, we need to have an AC source. Now let me remove this portion from here. This battery, I'm just going to remove it from here. Then I'm going to use the AC source, right? So I just connect it well in the circuit. Okay, now see this thing. See students, there is a difference now. You see, look at the graph. In the graph now you see a difference. Earlier the current was neither changing in direction nor in magnitude. Now it is changing in both. It is changing in its value, it is changing in its direction. See students, look at the motion of electrons here. They are not moving in any particular single direction. Instead, what they are doing, they are just vibrating to and fro. This kind of motion is giving rise to current. See, look at the brightness of the bulb. We don't see this kind of change in brightness in our domestic supply. In our household circuit, we do not see any such change. What could be the possible cause? Yes, the difference lies in the frequency with which these electrons are vibrating. See students, the domestic supply that we are getting is having a frequency of 50 Hertz. That means there are 50 cycles per second. That is the frequency at which electrons are vibrating. And because of that, before we can actually perceive any change in brightness, the value has already changed. So as a result, we just find it to be quite smooth. And the value is however changing continuously, but it is changing very, very quickly, so that we cannot actually realize that there is a change in amount of current or there is a change in direction. But what you can clearly see here is the electrons are not moving from one end to another as it was happening in the case of DC source, right students? So you will be able to make use of this. This simulation also you can make use of, so that you understand how the different kinds of current change. Okay, now let me get back to the theoretical part. So let me just start with this portion where we discuss about what is current and so on. So students, electric current is defined as the charge flowing through any section of conductor in 1 second. So charge flowing per unit time, that is the mathematical definition of current. And if the charge is flowing at a steady rate, then we can calculate it using this formula, that is current is equal to Q upon T. And if the charge flow varies with time, then we can make use of calculus and we can calculate current as dq by dt. For instance, if you are given current charge like something like this is given to be say in coulomb, and the question is find the amount of current when say time is 2 seconds. So in that case, what I can do is I just differentiate it once and then I substitute the value of time, right? So this is how do we calculate the current. This is one of the methods. This is not the only expression which we use for calculation of current. This is one of the methods when we know the amount of charge flowing and the time that it took. Okay, then the SI unit. SI unit of current is ampere, and we can make use of smaller units also like milliampere, microampere and so on, depending upon the situations. Okay, now different kinds of currents, two types we have already discussed. The first graph is indicating the current which does not change in direction or value. So that will be called as direct current or steady current. Other kind of current is which is continuously changing with time or which is discontinuously changing with time. However, they are not changing periodically, so they do not make up alternative current. So they are just called the varying currents. And the third kind of current is which changes its value continuously and direction is changing periodically. That is said to be the alternating current. All right, students. So with this, I finish up today's session. I'll be leaving the links of the simulations in the description so that you can go ahead, you can try on your own, bring in the variations in the circuits and just enjoy yourself. That's all. Thank you so much.